Susan Johnson is now signed up to speak.
Good morning, Judge and County Commissioners. My name is Susan Johnson, and I am a broker owner of J Properties Real Estate. Served as past chair of Magnolia Parkway Chamber of Commerce and the outgoing president of the Magnolia Area Republican Women. My husband Dean and I moved to Magnolia from Houston in 2002. At the time, our daughter was 14 and our sons were 12, 10, and 8. The youngest two of our 4 children were born with a rare genetic syndrome and needed room for their wheelchairs and special equipment, and we were very fortunate to be able to build a home to meet their needs. After moving to Magnolia, we began to experience something we had never experienced before: real community. We had experienced this with our church families over the years, but not with our neighbors. Everywhere we went, people were welcoming and supportive of us and others. Magnolia is a unique combination of families who have lived in the area for generations and folks like us who have more recently arrived. Anyone who wants to get involved in the community is invited to jump in and lend a hand. We have seen Commissioner Riley care for families who have loved ones dealing with cancer and injuries, kids raising money for school and club projects, startup businesses having ribbon cuttings, and continually being available to listen, not just sitting in his office, but continually out in the community. When Judge Doyle was county commissioner, this was the way he cared for our community as well. He set a great example, and Commissioner Riley continues to make this support a priority every day. The people of Magnolia in southwest Montgomery County have been patiently going to work, raising their families, paying their property taxes, and trusting you, county commissioners, county court, to make good decisions for them. These good people are drowning in traffic, and it is time that they were cared for as they have been caring for others for so many years. The Highway 249 extension has been a promise made to the residents of Magnolia in southwest Montgomery County, and it needs to be kept. All of you know that the plan to provide this relief will not cost the constituents additional tax money, and that the road will be paid for by those who travel on it. You know the facts concerning this plan, and you should be responding to those who are vocally and publicly twisting those facts in an effort to further their own agendas that have nothing to do with providing relief to the residents living in the area. I urge you to do the hard work of staying the course and completing this project. I urge you to support Commissioner Riley in telling the truth to the residents of Montgomery County and keeping your promise to the patient people who are relying on you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Dean Johnson. We can defer that time. Okay. Chris Jones.
Good morning, Commissioners and Judge. I come today to talk about the toll road for another reason other than whether we need it or not, or who's going to pay for it and all that stuff. I'm coming to you as a 43-year resident of South Montgomery County, specifically in Magnolia. I grew up there. I've been there my whole life. I've been in law enforcement for 21 years. I've been with the Constable's Department all that time, and I'm currently the Chief Deputy for them. Magnolia area, southwest Montgomery County, is a pass-through. It's a pass-through for Grimes County, Waller County, Montgomery, other areas out there. We have towns like Todd, Mission, Navasota, Whitehall, Anderson, Plantersville, Dacus, Montgomery, Dobbin, pass through the Magnolia area every day. They pass through going to Harris County to go to work. They pass through on the way back to Mobile. These people that are passing through are tying up our roads, and they can. They can drive through there. They can come through there. They obey the laws. We're good with that. But right now, we're getting so much traffic that it is a hindrance for law enforcement, for EMS, for fire, to get down roads such as 1774, 1488, 149 to Montgomery, which encompasses our whole precinct. So what I'm looking for is a corridor to get those people that can pass through, that all they do is pass through Montgomery County to get to where they go to work. Give them a corridor to do that so that we can do our jobs. So That's what I'm here for today, and that's all I want to say.
Paul Mendes.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Usually when I'm up here, I'm talking about defending a concept and supporting 249 and so forth. I'd like to bring you a little bit of news from western Montgomery County. 249 is underway. The trees are coming down, the right-of-way is being cleared. If you look down by Spring Creek, you can see the center of the road is getting cleared in preparation for a road. It's really making an impact on our area. We've got more people coming into town to eat from work crews. Matter of fact, the city had to create a position of a planner to deal with our developers who are coming by, asking questions and looking for information to develop and build in western Montgomery County. There's been so much emotion and talk about this, but very little of the positive stuff comes out. For Magnolia and West Montgomery County, this is tremendous. It has been working great for us. And we've gotten with the developers of the Woodard track, who have come up with a transportation plan, the developers of the Audubon track, who have their own transportation plan. We've tied it into the city transportation plan. We've worked with Commissioner Riley to tie it to the county plan, as well as the TX-249 plan. And basically, we're about to produce a transportation plan for all of western Montgomery County that's basically supported and developed by the city. And it's going to make a difference. When you look at what we have in roads today and what we're going to have 10 years from now, there's no comparison. And I just thank you for your effort and your perseverance driving on in the face of some real opposition to help our part of the county. Thank you.
Gary Vincent. Chief Vincent.
Good morning. My name is Gary Vincent. I'm the fire chief in Magnolia. Magnolia covers about 20-25% of the entire county. A lot of people don't realize that. I'm not here to discuss the contracts, the toll road, any of that. None of that is really my concern. I'm here today because in the 40 years, almost 40 years I've been in the fire service, I've learned to recognize certain locations that have a lot of wrecks and the impact on people. So I went to the TX-249 website and actually pulled the data for 1 4.5 mile stretch of 249. In that data, I asked my planning officer, just pull the data for the last 2 years. I think that'll be sufficient to make the point that I'd like to make. The current existing roadway, as it currently exists, in the last 2 years, we had 248 crashes on that 4.5 miles of roadway. It involved 509 vehicles and 678 people. 5 fatalities resulted in that 2 year period. So my purpose of being here today is not, I leave it to the wisdom of the court to make a decision how to go about solving the problem. But I would like to ask you to expedite whatever you choose to do, because the continued existence as it currently exists is resulting in a lot of people being injured and killed. And so that's why I'm here today. Just ask that whatever the wisdom of the court, I appreciate what you do, but please don't let this situation as it currently exists just linger on and linger on and linger on. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief. That's everyone that signed up to speak. We will have another opportunity at the end of the agenda for people to speak on items not on today's agenda. If you want to address this issue, if you didn't sign up, you can speak at the end of the agenda.
I signed up to speak, Judge.
You did?
Yeah.
You don't know sheet for Ms. Russell?
Yes, I have one as well.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that one. Ms. Russell, go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. And Merry Christmas, wish all Merry Christmas. It's a blessed week for me. I just had my 6th grandbaby, a grandson, and I had one due Christmas Day, so it's been a great week for me. I'm just going to speak from the heart about the toll road. I travel that road often. My daughter lives in College Station. I go that way all the time. There is no traffic, despite the fact they're in the Renaissance Festival time, and I will take Jackson Road. This tow road, from my perspective, is not needed, and it's a political maneuver by this court who have approved it. I've asked repeatedly, just let the taxpayers have a vote. That's all I asked for, let the taxpayers have a vote. I was told by my commissioner that he would agree to let the taxpayers have a vote, despite the fact that we passed a resolution in executive session that taxpayers should have a vote. And we've been denied. The fact, and I've repeated this before, the fact that you can have 3 people, elected people that are supposed to represent the taxpayers, decide that we are going to put in a tow road and absolutely refuse to let the taxpayers vote on the tow road is ludicrous. That's just ridiculous. And I just think it speaks a lot about power abuse. I just think it's just corrupt. You should let the taxpayers have a vote. You can't let 3 people out of the thousands that live here decide to put in the toll road.
All right, anyone else that signed up, and I did not get a signed affidavit? Okay, we're gonna move forward with our toll road agenda. Under item 3A, we're gonna receive an update, discuss pass of toll road. Commissioner Vandergrift drove in from Dallas today. He had mentioned the last time that I was in Austin, he'd be more than happy to come to Conroe and discuss the toll road, and he's made good on his word, Commissioner. So thank you for being with us today. If you would be glad to be kind enough to make comments, we would love to hear from you today. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule.
My name is Victor Vandergrift, and I'm with the Texas Transportation Commission. Live in Fort Worth, Texas, and drove all the way down here, and then your audio concerns. So I'm beginning to think somebody would want me to be here. But I am proud to be here and thankful that I did. I tell the judge when the last time 249 came up before us at the commission that it was a very contentious meeting. And I told him that I appreciated the courage it took of 3 of you to vote for that. And it's very challenging. It also takes courage for 2 to vote against. But I felt like that it was important if the time came for me to be able to come down there. So he called me, and then he reminded me, he said, I think you're against toll roads. And so I do have what I would say a checkered past. I've spent 11 years of my life, straight years, on either the North Texas Toll Road Authority, which is owned and operated by 5 counties in the DFW area, and now for the last 4.5 years on TxDOT. So commission overseeing that. So I spent a lot of time on this, and actually said when I was the vice chair and soon to be chair of the North Texas Tollway Authority that I hated toll roads. And I also have fought rather aggressively over the course of the summer and the fall to say we need to have a lot more open discussion and debate on the fact that we're going to have 17 big projects in Texas and 15 of them have managed lanes. And I fought here in this county to see that roughly 9 miles of it in Grimes County on segment 2 was non-tolled. So that makes me think that maybe I'm told, or that makes others, think that I'm anti-toll. Well, actually, far from it. I want to make sure I'm clear. Toll roads for me don't make sense when you're putting all the costs in the road to make it work. Toll roads don't make sense for me when you don't have open, honest debate and discussion. I believe that those 2 hurdles for me personally have certainly been met on the Montgomery County portion of this road. I think the debate and discussion has been prolific. I think the courage of the commissioners to take a stance for or against it is well known. I think that the road itself is well justified based upon the traffic patterns that will be there. And so I'm supportive as an outside citizen. I'm not talking for the members of the commission. I'm very supportive of this road, and I hope you go forward with it. And here's another bottom line reason why, is if you don't, then the road will probably not get built in our lifetimes. I have experienced, I've been in the road business. I'm a car dealer by trade. My family before me, 4 generations. And we've watched at times when the communities have said no to a road when the opportunity was there, particularly when there was a self-help opportunity such as the toll road, that will pay for itself and pay for the maintenance. We've seen what's happened when a toll road is, the tolls are taken off and you don't have the maintenance dollars to update it and to keep it improved. And this is a road and an opportunity that has a chance to make sure you stay ahead of with the development in this area and keep up with it. I think it's an economic development generator. We've also seen that in roads that I've been a part of, where when you build them and the traffic is there and the opportunity is there, the business will come, the economic vitality will come. So I think that if you don't do this, it goes back in the hopper of one of several thousand projects at TXDOT. And you've probably read in the last month that and I'm speaking kind of this way too, Judge, so that people behind me can hear me. I know the microphone works, but it's important they know I'm talking to them as well. That it will go back in the hopper, and there it will sit for perhaps, as I said, our lifetimes. You will not be able, in my opinion, to get the help of the department to do this. Right now, we are sitting on what a lot of people think is a lot of money, and it is. Proposition 1, Proposition 7, the ending of diversions. We have about $70 billion we can invest over the next 10 years in order to do in projects. But part of the challenge of that $70 billion, if you look back on the previous 10 years and what was the tolling era, when you add up the debt, you add up the toll roads that we made possible, and you do the public-private partnerships that happened at the Metroplex, the interesting fact is we had $70 million then. Billion, I should have said on both instances if I said million. So the money is about the same for both. And we are struggling at the department to try to figure out how we stretch all that riches. Now, it's not that it's cash, and cash is definitely better than debt, but we're struggling how to do it. Hence, you saw in the last couple of months a discussion about bringing back managed lanes to bring more money in. In Harris County alone, where your money would come from, you are pretty well committed through the next decade to other roads. They won't change those. They will be more important than this road, like I-45 that you depend on as well, just right outside of here. This is an opportunity for you to get road projects done, and I've heard your citizens here talk about the safety concerns, the traffic management concerns, the economic development opportunities, the law enforcement concerns. If these address that, then I urge you to continue to be moving forward, Judge, with this, because otherwise I think we'll all be gone, not from this earth perhaps, but from the jobs we're in before this road comes back up before the commission. So thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Any questions?
If that's allowable.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking time to come down here. It's certainly appreciated. I'm concerned or have a question. You talk as if there is a way that Montgomery County could not proceed with this road today. As I understand it, the state is moving forward with
Yes.
their portion of the Montgomery County toll road, correct?
Yes.
So that's a done deal. There's no moving away from that, and it will be tolled.
One portion of it. The segment 1 is the toll portion, segment 2 is not.
Okay.
Now, I do think, and certainly I would ask this question if for some reason this segment 3 does not get done, I think that the Commissioner's Court will have to take up what happens on segment 1 and 2.
We do have an agreement with TXDOT
Yeah.
that if we were to decide not to do the project, that TXDOT would take it over.
Okay.
Correct. So the way I see it is this road is moving forward one way or another. You make it sound as if we have some way to stop it.
Yeah.
So can you clarify?
Well, if we have to come up for a vote on a toll road at the commission, at this point in time, and I'm not speaking for other commissioners, but you can certainly see in the newspapers and read and hear and read in the media that we are in a no new taxes, fees, tolls, or debt position.
And so why should that be any different for Montgomery County?
Because then we will have to place this project, in my opinion, against other non-tolled projects. And therefore, it will be valued against other non-projects, specifically here in this part of the region, in the Houston district.
It wouldn't compete.
No, I'm just saying, no, it's no different though for the citizens of Montgomery County. If it's good enough for the state, it's good enough for Montgomery County, that we shouldn't be building new toll roads.
But the question is the timing of when that road would be built. And that would be my concern for you.
And this project, and I'll go to a little history of it after the Commissioner's finished, but this project's been involved, we've been involved in working on this for 5 or 6 years. We went to Austin to get this project started. The agreement was set many years ago, to construct it as a tollway. It's the only way it's gonna get it constructed. The reason, Commissioner, and correct me if I'm wrong, the segment in Grimes County that's being constructed is basically an FM type construction, just two
Yes,
lanes.
it is.
And the only way that it can be a non-toll facility is the revenue that will be generated from the end further south with heavier traffic. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, so yes, if you waive on it, it comes back to us, but it goes in the hopper with, and that was my point earlier, with all of the projects that would be out there.
Because I had a conversation with Quincy Allen at TXDOT here in the Houston District, and he confirmed to me that if Montgomery County did not build their portion of that roadway, that it would be built. It's just a matter of where those funds would come from, that
And
TXDOT would build that road.
And
Well,
when-
I mean, we have a copy
Well,
of the
the
agreement.
agreement that we currently
It's-
have says that if TxDOT takes it over, there's still gonna be a toll facility.
Correct, I'm just saying that it will be built. I think I can't recall, do you know if there's a time frame on that, BD?
I do not recall.
I guess my point is, I believe, number one, that we need roads in Montgomery County. We need to be making sure our citizens can get from point A to point B. My entire family are firemen, so I know how important it is to make sure that the safety of the roads is taken care of. My only concern is the fact that should this road be tolled or not? And I really kind of thought we were past that point until you came in and made it sound like there was, some way for
No,
Montgomery
if
County
we,
to stop
yeah,
it.
you're past the point of the toll or not. The question is, in this environment, if you passed on it for Montgomery County doing it, would TxDOT be able to do the project? And the answer for me personally, my observation, not as the Commissioner's Court, I want to emphasize that, but as my observation working on the Commissioner's Court, this would be very challenging to come up for us to do in the environment we're in. So you're talking about having the project now or reasonably soon versus whenever.
And now's when we need it. We
I
need it right
understand
now.
Any other questions, Commissioner? Commissioner, thank you.
Thank you.
For taking the time to drive
Thank you so
down
much.
all the way to Fort Worth. We hope you have safe travels home and Merry Christmas.
And I want to thank you, Commissioner Mack, for asking the questions you did, because that makes sure that my comments are more clear, so I appreciate
Thank you.
that.
Appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We have a quick update here, but just to kind of give you a historical perspective on the roadway. You know, I'd asked Delvin Dennis if he could be here. I don't know if he made it or not. I didn't see Delvin, but 10 or 12 years ago, maybe more than that, there was a group of activists in Tomball that basically shut down the 249 project. TxDOT went elsewhere with the dollars that they had, understandably. They just took their money and went to another project where they were wanted. About 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I guess it was, maybe I'm not sure exactly the timeline, but the group from Tomball came to me and said, would you go with us to TxDOT to talk about reviving the 249 project? I was a little apprehensive about that because they had shut it down once before. So we went to see then Commissioner Ned Holmes, who said, well, that's a great idea, it's a great project, we tried to build it, how are you gonna build it? So we went and talked to Delvin Dennis, of the TxDOT office in Houston, asked the same questions of Delvin. And he said, well, that's a great project, but I got shot down the last time I tried that, how are you gonna build it? The same people that shut it down were asking for it to be built because they were drowning in traffic. And so we went and talked to Commissioner Cagle, and Commissioner Cagle said, that's a great project, how are we gonna build it? And so that's when a partnership was formed. The 249 partnership became a reality. And we had meetings, and you guys remember all the meetings we had. We had meeting after meeting after meeting of the 249 partnership. We had them in Tomball, we had them in Magnolia, we had them in Navasota. None of these people over here that are complaining showed up in any of those meetings. We worked for years. We went to Austin. Paul, you remember how many trips we made to Austin to request that the Highway Commission look at 249. If Hector was going to build the segment in Harris County, we would build the segment in Montgomery County from Spring Creek up to Pinehurst as part of the primacy agreement that the legislature created for counties. TxDOT agreed that they would build the piece from there forward. And so we worked for many, many years to get to that point, to get to that agreement. So to say that no one wants it is an absurd comment. There was meeting after meeting. We filled that auditorium at Magnolia West one night with people talking about this project. Now, to think that there's no traffic over there, not needed. What was the sign that was meant? There was a demographic study done in Magnolia about 4 or 5 years ago that identified within a 5-mile radius of Magnolia, there was what? What was the name?
Area population of 138,000, I believe.
Within a 5-mile radius of Magnolia.
How's that tow road gonna relieve the
Stop,
traffic of
stop.
1488? It's
Now,
not.
the fact is, there's a tremendous number of people, there's more people in that Magnolia area, 5-mile radius, than in the Woodlands, quite frankly. Now, I want you to think about the Woodlands if the Hardy Toll Road didn't exist. If your only route to Houston was I-45, the Hardy Toll Road didn't exist, at least you have an option. Think about what it would be like if you wanted to go to Katy or to Sugar Land and you didn't have the Grand Parkway. You'd have to go down to I-45 to I-10 or to 59. You have options. And most of the arguments are coming from people that already have options. People in Magnolia, that 138,000 residents over there, have no other option to get to Houston than the feeder roads of 249. I think if we ignore that, we're not paying attention to the constituents of this county. We're selling revenue bonds that won't cost anybody a penny that does not travel on that road. If you don't understand revenue bonds, you need to do a little research. Because revenue bonds do not obligate the taxpayers of this county for 1 penny of the construction of that road. Now, the Toll Road Authority has borrowed some money from Montgomery County that will be repaid, every penny of it. That's just simply to make things move forward a little quicker. So to say that we've spent county money is another erroneous comment. I want you to think about the Grand Parkway right now. If you get on, Commissioner, you know what's happening in East Montgomery County right now. How would your community be growing without that Grand Parkway? They wouldn't. Y'all have an option too. That's all the people of West Montgomery County are asking. Look at the economic development. Get on the Grand Parkway from Highway 59 all the way to I-10. And look at the commercial development that's occurring on. That commercial development is what offsets the burden of taxes on residential taxpayers. That's what pays the bills. Quite frankly, it provides another great opportunity for the convenience of people that don't now have to drive all the way to the Woodlands or to Conroe. They have now Walmarts and Home Depots and laundromats and other things that are springing up because of the economic development that's occurring. There's a tremendous amount of Southwest Montgomery County that's primed for development that this road would provide that opportunity for. Also, think about this. When you get on the Hardy Toll Road or the Grand Parkway and you pay for those fees, who's benefiting from those fees? Harris County. Why would you not want people from Harris County cutting through here to help us benefit our roadway? All I'm saying is there needs to be options. This is a perfectly acceptable, a very viable option. You heard the commissioner talk about what our options are. I don't know that we want to wait 10 years or more of the construction of that roadway. There's a lot of people that have tried to politicize this issue.
Let the voters vote.
The voters can't vote, Ms. Russell, and Rich Muller will talk about that in just a minute. We're past the public comment segment. Now, the fact is, it's a good business decision. You can politicize it all you want, but I have to make decisions. This court needs to make decisions based on good business and not politics, and I hope that the rest of the court will agree with that. So, with that, I think, Rich, did you have some updates that you wanted to give us? Sure. Are you other comments, Commissioner? Rich, go ahead, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. And I've got James Baker with Half Associates.
Are you going to bring that back up?
No. Just to update you on where we are in the process. So plans are now 100% complete on the Montgomery County piece of the project. James has updated his construction cost estimate, and today the construction cost is estimated to be $63 million. If you look at that compared on a per mile basis with what Harris County has spent on their piece, both on construction and engineering, and what TX-249 has spent on their piece, both construction and engineering, both of those projects, of course, have bid on either end. Those are almost identical on a per mile basis, so right in line with what the other agencies are seeing on costs. So we don't expect this project to be out of line with those costs. You won't know the numbers until it's bid. That's when you really know what it's going to cost. It could be that it's a little bit less than that 63, but for planning purposes, James's number is 63. We should have the traffic and revenue study update completed this month. I'd hope to have it to you today, but they haven't completed it yet. So in addition to having, I think, a really good handle on what the costs are, we will have a really good handle on what the revenue stream would look like first of 2018.
Do we have a draft that you could make a prediction? Are you willing to?
Well, I think that from what I've heard from CDM Smith at this point, the numbers will be higher than the 2014 report, which the 2014 report, the numbers were high enough to pay for the project. So I don't want to speculate on what that looks like, but there's no indication that it'll be lower. I wanted to address a couple of the legal issues that were raised in the public comment, if I could. First, with respect to what happens if you don't move forward with this project. Just to remind everybody, the decision as to whether this is a toll project or not is initially made by TXDOT. The way the law works is when TXDOT says they're going to do a project, they want to do a toll project, then they say this is going to be a toll project, and then the county has the right to either do the project or let TXDOT do it. So basically a right of first refusal. Y'all exercise the right of first refusal, and you have agreements with both Harris County and TXDOT that say that if we don't move forward with the project as planned, then those entities would both have opportunities to do it. That doesn't mean they would do it, right? But I think it's unlikely that both of those entities would pass on the opportunity to build this segment as a toll road.
Why would they pass it if it's such a great opportunity to build?
They wouldn't, is what I said.
Okay, so they won't pass on it. So somebody
what I'm saying is they could, they're not legally obligated to do it, right? So then the decision as to whether to do it would go to Harris County or to TXDOT to do it as a toll road project. And if they both said no,
They would jump on it.
if they both said no, that we're not going to do it as a toll project, then it would be up to TXDOT to fund it as a non-toll project. I think you just heard the commissioner say we probably wouldn't see that funding for quite some time. So I think if it's going to be done now, then it's going to be done as a toll road. If it's going to be done later, then you have the option to have TXDOT funded whenever they would have those dollars available. With respect to the issue of an election, as I've said here before, since you're doing revenue bonds, there is no election that is required. Because there is no election required, you cannot have an election. You can't have a non-binding referendum. The courts have ruled that that's illegal. You can't do it. So even if you wanted to have an election on revenue bonds, you couldn't do it. And with that, I'll answer your questions unless James has anything.
I think it would be a bad idea to have an election concerning one road in one part of the county anywhere, anytime, no matter where that road is, whether it's in the Woodlands or East County or North or West, to have the entire county vote on one road. I just don't see the logic.
It'd be like trying to pass a flood district for people that don't live in the flood, you know. I want to make sure that we all understand that the cost is not $83 million, it's not $95 million. We've said all along it's $63 million. It's not 4.2 miles, it's 3.6 miles. Everything that we've said, we stuck to what we've been saying. We haven't changed anything.
Correct.
All that's still the same.
We haven't changed the numbers, no,
Have not
sir.
changed the numbers.
TXDOT keeps a letting schedule for locally led projects, and their information that they had out there was inaccurate. I'm not sure who put that data in, but they have thousands of projects they're tracking. I'm sure they just don't have somebody responsible for updating like you do, who live in the county here and keep track of your project.
Good. James, any other information that we need to be aware of concerning the project?
We're ready to advertise the project.
Okay. So that's going to bring us up to date. Commissioners, any questions or thoughts?
No, I just want to clarify, make sure I understand this. If Montgomery County chose not to build their 3.6 mile segment of the roadway, TXDOT could either build it and toll it, and it would happen as soon as Montgomery County could do it. Correct?
Assuming TXDOT, assuming the commission would vote to move forward on that basis. I heard for the first time that might not.
Why would they build A, C, and then not do B?
Yeah,
They're not gonna do that. We don't need to be in the toll road business. The people
Exactly.
of Montgomery County
Part
don't.
of the agreement, Commissioner, when we went to Austin to talk to TxDOT, was and Commissioner, correct me if I'm wrong, we went and said, we want to talk about 249, and they said basically it wasn't on y'all's radar at all. And they said, if you're willing to step up and do your part, we'll do our part. And that was the agreement that we made with TxDOT, with the support of the Magnolia community for the toll facility.
I'm
Get
for the
project
road.
done.
I'm for the road. We need the road. We don't need to be in the toll road business. We need to let the state
And
take
why?
it.
Why, if we've got a project that could generate some revenue, would we turn loose of that? Explain that, from a business perspective, why?
We need to
Explain
move
that.
forward with the plan like we've got the plan. We need to get it going. We need the road now today. We don't need to be waiting. We need to move forward.
All right, any other questions or comments?
No, I'm good.
Okay, Rich, James, thank you very much.